Welcome back to a new podcast episode. I am Kelvin Dooley, and please do me a favor, like, comment, or subscribe to my channel. You could also turn on your notifications button and be notified when I drop a new video every week. I'm back today to give you guys the instant reaction of the Chiefs' 40-26 victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars in TIAA Bank Field as the Chiefs open up their season with a 40-26 victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's get straight into it. Let's dive right in. And I have breakdown, not necessarily over the Chiefs' victory, but more so towards CBS and their broadcast team. What I don't appreciate of CBS is dropping the broadcast of the Chiefs' victory. They dropped it halfway through the fourth quarter, sometime after Sammy Watkins scored his third touchdown of the day. They dropped the broadcast to tune in to the Cleveland Browns getting shellacked. I mean, completely dominated by the Tennessee Titans. How, CBS, how dare you? Nobody wants to see Baker, at least not yet. I damn so don't want to see Baker yet. Can I watch my Chiefs dominate the Jags? What the hell? I didn't mind listening to Tony Romo. I never do. Tony Romo is awesome, and Jim Nantz. But you drop a dominating performance just to tune in to another dominating performance? Don't nobody want to see Mayfield? Can we watch Sammy score more touchdowns? Patrick Mahomes, please. CBS, how dare you? They dropped the Chiefs broadcast to tune in to the Titans beating the Browns off of the Cleveland Browns. And I'm tuning in, looking at Baker Mayfield look completely saddened by his performance. Don't do that shit again, CBS. Do not turn off Mahomes for Baker Mayfield, who was getting his behind whacked. I just had to get that off my chest to begin with. That was horrible. Now, on to the game itself and what took place on the field. Let's start here. Tyreek Hill. It has been reported he was transferred to a local hospital after suffering what appeared to be a shoulder injury throughout in the first quarter. He did not return to that game. That is not a good sign if you're a Chiefs fan or the Chiefs franchise. The most explosive player in the league, the most electric player in the NFL, happens to go down in game one after being tackled by Jalen Ramsey, who was very feisty today. Jalen Ramsey he had his nose in a lot of different after activity plays. So nonetheless, Tyreek Hill goes down with an injury. Let's hope that Tyreek Hill is healthy and may be available for week 2 and on in the rest of the season. Let's dive into the biggest takeaways. I'm going to start with the offense. We're going to give you guys 3 of the biggest takeaways of game 1 of the season opening win for the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes took a lot of hits today. Took a lot of big hits. And it reminds me of their last season matchup against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars came into that game wanting to bully the Chiefs. They didn't do that. Kansas City ended up winning that game quite handily. It wasn't the best performance on a slick, wet field, but nonetheless, the Chiefs got that victory. They came into this game with the same intensity, looking to run over and bully the Chiefs. They were able to be quite aggressive and really bring that intensity up front as they got after Mahomes a lot today. They got after Mahomes a lot. Took a lot of good hits on Mahomes. Mahomes ended up suffering an ankle injury to his left ankle in this game, right? And you could just accumulate that to Mahomes just taking a lot of hits. And this is a very stout defensive line for the Jacksonville Jaguars with Calais Campbell and Ngakoue. Excuse me if I completely butchered his name, but they got guys who can get out to the quarterback, and that's what they did today. That's my biggest takeaway, how Jacksonville was able to increase and get to Patrick Mahomes with their pressures today. I don't think they recorded any sacks, but they were able to get Mahomes on the ground. My second biggest takeaway, the career day from one Sammy Watkins. Now, I attribute this day to Watkins looking at Tyreek Hill get his contract extension and seeing the writing on the wall and saying that, you know what? With Tyreek Hill now making $18 million and Sammy Watkins making $18 million, the Chiefs will no longer be able to carry two $18 million wide receivers. And Sammy's saying, if I'm going to be the guy out, let's go out with a bang. And he started off huge this 2019-2020 season. 3 touchdowns for Sammy Watkins, a career day. He dismantled A.J. Bouye. He got loose from Jalen Ramsey with his third and final touchdown. He had a phenomenal day, and it was quite wonderful to see from Sammy Watkins. His best game as a Kansas City Chief. Last season was a huge disappointment. Again, he looks at Tyreek Hill's contract extension. I think that ups the ante for Sammy Watkins. He has to prove that he can ball at a high level consistently and make plays like he did today. He looked phenomenal in and out of his breaks, his long speed, his physicality. He shoved Jalen Ramsey off of him for that third and final touchdown, that 3-yard reception. I mean, Sammy Watkins looked great today. Proud of Sammy Watkins. What a phenomenal game from Sammy. My third and final takeaway, Damian Williams and LaShawn Shady McCoy. That's going to make for a lethal 1-2 punch. They looked great today. And in scorching temperatures with 95-degree weather, 60-plus degree humidity on the field, the broadcast said it was at least 120 on the field. With those two running backs in and out the lineup, they looked great. And McCoy, I wasn't too high on the move prior to the addition. Coming out of week 1, I actually love the move now. I can admit it. I love the addition of Shady McCoy, right? And I think he has a bad look coming from Buffalo where that offensive line was putrid, right? And the quarterback play wasn't up to par. He now has MVP quarterback play. He now has an above-average offensive line. Shady McCoy and Damian Williams, both of these guys will stand out through 16 weeks this season for the Kansas City Chiefs. That 1-2 punch is going to be something magnificent for the Kansas City Chiefs. I love the addition of McCoy. So those are my 3 biggest takeaways. Mahomes takes a lot of hits. Sammy Watkins has a career day before and after the Tyreek Hill injury. And Damian Williams and LaShawn McCoy will be a phenomenal 1-2 punch. And I can say that comfortably right now after week 1. And that was against a really good stout Jacksonville Jaguars defense. Let's get to the defense. I have 4, maybe 5 takeaways from the Chiefs defense. So let's start here. Damian Wilson, who I think he was the starting Sam for this game, and Juan Thornhill, the rookie safety for the Chiefs. We have staples in this defense now, right? Production that we didn't get last season at those same positions, we will get at least consistent production from those positions today. Both of those guys had great games. Damian Wilson forcing a fumble. Juan Thornhill just being around the ball. He got beat a couple times, missed an assignment here and there. But he's a rookie. He'll learn from that. He'll be better. But both of those guys stood out on the broadcast to me. Those are 2 guys that I've seen a lot on the field. Just making plays, being around the ball, assisting on tackles, making tackles. Those guys played great today. My second takeaway, I didn't like what I saw from the defense, specifically the secondary after Nick Foles went down with an injury. This rookie quarterback, I've already forgotten his name, Minshew, rookie out of Washington State, came in and kept the game relatively close. Like he kept the Jaguars in it, gave those guys at least a chance, right? He was able to make completions, move the ball up and down the field a little bit. I did not like what I seen from the defense, specifically the secondary after their starting quarterback went down. Things hadn't really changed. They lost some of their explosiveness, not like they had much anyway, but it was damn near all gone when Foles left out. But they were still able to execute and make plays on this Chiefs defense. So that point disappointed me a little bit. My third takeaway, Charks, wide receiver for the Jags, and Chris Conley. Charks, 4 receptions, 146 yards, 1 touchdown. The former Chief, Chris Conley, 6 receptions, 97 yards for a touchdown. I was really expecting this secondary to fare fairly well against a mediocre receiving core for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They didn't really play that well, specifically at moments in this game. Chris Conley and Chark were able to essentially get where they wanted to go and make big plays for their offense. Both of those guys had really good games. Underwhelming performance by the Chiefs secondary. I thought those guys could play much better against a mediocre receiving core. And again, to my second point, against a backup quarterback, I thought those guys would play much better. And my fourth takeaway, no pass rush. We didn't really see a consistent heavy pass rush from Frank Clark and Chris Jones and company. Okafor did get a sack, but outside of that, you didn't really see a heavy pass rush from the Kansas City Chiefs. And you can attribute that and give compliments to the Jags O-line. They did play well, but outside of that, this is supposed to be a strong point of this defense, one of their strengths, and they didn't really get after the quarterback as much as they thought. I won't weigh heavy onto that. It's just week one, but still, I would have liked to have seen some sacks and more pressures. My final takeaway for the defense, they weren't as aggressive as I thought they would be defensively, whether that was sending blitzes, the disguises, and things like that. They just weren't as aggressive as a Steve Spagnuolo defense is typically billed as. I didn't really see the aggressiveness. I just seen stout, disciplined defense, which is a first. We haven't seen that in 2 or 3 seasons from the Kansas City Chiefs defense. So regardless if that's a negative takeaway, it actually worked wonders for the Chiefs today. They were able to get the job done and limit what the Jaguars were wanting to do, which was run the ball and punch the Chiefs in the mouth, which you can attribute some of that to the Jaguars just trailing all game. But still, all in all, they weren't as aggressive. It actually worked in their favor. They were actually able to sit back and make plays up front in the linebacking at the second level and at the third level in the secondary. So my defensive takeaways one more time. Damian Wilson, Juan Thornhill played great. I didn't like what I saw from the secondary, the defense as a whole, but the secondary specifically after the Nick Foles injury. Charks and Chris Conley were able to have productive days on the outside. No pass rush, which kind of confuses me. And then again, the defense just wasn't as aggressive as I thought they would be. But nonetheless, the Chiefs escape Jacksonville with a 40-26 victory to open up the season. They're 1-0. Their next matchup, the lowless, the sunken ship Oakland Raiders. I'm not really expecting much from that game. It's the Raiders, but it is our rival. It is on the road, so it will be a hostile environment. But that's my instant reaction. Please like, comment, or subscribe to this channel, this video. That would be much appreciated. You can also tap the notifications button and be notified when I drop a new video every week. This is the instant reaction. I'll be back later this week to summarize this game completely, talk more about the Tyreek Hill injury, and we'll go from there. Thank you guys for tuning in.